Good. Welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs Podcast. We're your hosts, Dan and Andy. Today is March 13th, 2022. We're in season 3, episode number 18. We have a special guest joining us today to start off the show. It's Killer Hawk. Hawk, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good.
It's the first time we've had him on the show. We have some questions now. He's a big Seattle fan, but Andy, do you have any questions to start off Killer Hawk with to start the show?
First of all, thanks for being on. You're part of a super fans group. Every team has them,
right?
Like I talked earlier, there's a few guys here in Minnesota. One guy's kind of tries to look like Hulk Hogan, and he's like 100 pounds heavier than the guy. We got a couple guys that are in purple suits with hats. They're all super fans. Are you like associated with the team at all, or is this just a thing you do on your own?
Well, of course I follow the Seahawks. I live here in the Seattle area. But I follow a bunch of other fans. They're called the elite sports fans, and their main thing is going against anti-bullying, which is really a great cause.
Anti-bullying, yeah.
Yeah.
And that, which is a great thing, to do that. Have you ever had a chance to go down and meet any of the players on the field or after a game or anything?
There it is.
There it is, the 12.
It's got a bunch of autographs on it. So yes, I have.
Beautiful. That's awesome. The players are pretty accepting your character and your bit.
Believe it or not, the character just came into play this year.
Okay.
So that picture. Oh, by the way, your security getting in here was horrible.
I know. They're interns. They don't get paid.
Yeah, that one picture that you have of me going through the security.
Yeah.
That was my first go around when I had the Jason mask and the other hard hat. But this is the new look. A little bit more.
I see. And they're okay. Are guys at the Seattle field there dressed up like that too, or?
Yeah, I don't know if you know who Captain Seahawk is. You probably
I'll keep an eye for him this year, though. Yeah,
I think we've seen him before.
Any game that Seattle's at, home or away, he's always in the end zone with his wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Keep an eye for that. Have you had a chance to raise the flag yet?
No. That honor is pretty much for retired players, military and things like that.
That'd be the holy grail if you went and got to do that.
That would be the holy grail.
That would be the thing to do. Have you ever traveled to a road game?
Yes.
And how were you received?
Well, I wasn't like this, but it was Super Bowl 48.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the Super Bowl, so you went there. Yeah, don't go to Philadelphia.
Right.
Yeah, don't do that. I will say, don't go to Philadelphia. Leave it at that. We're pretty welcoming here, but I won't promise anything good for you. How's the town reacting to the Russell Wilson trade and Wagner being let go?
Yes.
They were both brought in 2012, and that's when my wife and I got season tickets because they were kind of horrible before.
Yes.
They did really well for us, but it's a business. Everyone says that it's business. We're a little bummed, but I think we'll get back up, shake the dust off, and see what Pete Carroll and John Schneider do.
Now, if I recall, when you got Russ, he beat out Matt Flynn, who you just spent a bunch of money on from the Packers.
Right.
So just because you got some no-name quarterback in, you never know.
Right, exactly.
Just because you spent big money don't mean he's being, But yeah, right. It's great having you on. I'd like to, first of all, if you can, send us a link for the anti-bullying stuff. We will share that on social media and push it out there.
Absolutely.
We'll share that. That is not a problem at all. That's something we're kind of for. Now, Russ, are you guys playing in Denver this year, or does Denver come to you guys?
Denver comes here this year.
Oh, boy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we'll be like, let's see. I mean, I don't think the town's going to boo him. I mean, he got us a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're doing a decent ovation, I think.
right?
Is Pete Carroll, this is his last year at coach?
I think he's got 2 more years. Well, I think, is he 2025, I believe, is when his contract's up.
Think he'll step down early or he'll ride it out?
Yeah. I mean, if you ever watch a game, have you ever seen the guy? He's 70 years old, but he looks like he's still in his 50s.
Oh, yeah.
Running up and down the field.
Watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's moving still, but I didn't know if maybe that relationship with Russ, if he was like, for 3 years, I don't want to try to create another superstar, another great quarterback. So is he going to go draft, or you get a veteran in for a few years? We'll see.
There's a lot of possibilities. I got notes.
But
I got notes.
I heard.
Nice.
You're all set.
No, just joking. It's right here.
It's
there's a lot of rumors about Deshaun Watson or Kirk Cousins.
Yep, you'd have Cousins, no problem.
But you guys have been busy doing some podcasts. The rest of the world's been happening. Did you hear Tom Brady's coming out of retirement?
I heard that during the basketball, even the NCAA brackets, they dropped it that Brady's coming out. He says he's got unfinished business. I don't know. I guess is he.
And
he saw the honeydew list from the wife and said, "No, I'm going back to football."
The Vikings just today gave Cousins a 1-year extension from Minnesota.
Perfect. So maybe we're going for the draft.
It'll be interesting. Now, speaking of the draft, here at Killer Hawk, do you attend those draft parties there in Seattle for the draft party?
No, I haven't yet. I've been invited to some, but I kind of keep it low key. I don't
some of the other
very often.
Do some of the other super fans go to those events like that, like the draft, and take a major part of it? I need to get invited. To come?
Yeah, Captain Seahawk and his wife were at the last draft, and Roger Goodell personally gave them an invite to this last Super Bowl.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nice. That's
very
awesome. Good. Now, I understand from a mutual friend that you and the wife ran into one of my heroes, Marshawn Lynch, one time.
Yes.
Got an autograph, because I'll let you tell the story.
Beast mode?
Autograph. I can't turn the.
Okay.
Let me see if I can get it to turn.
Okay.
There it is.
There it is.
So my wife and I were at Super Bowl 48, and we were walking up and down Super Bowl alley, which was in Times Square. And people give you, you're constantly, come to this, come to this, come to that. Well, one of the brochures was Meet Marshawn Lynch, and I just threw it in the garbage. Well, my wife immediately ran over to that garbage, picked it out, and said, "Yeah, we're going." And there you go.
Beast
got an autographed jersey.
Nice. Yeah, Marshawn's good. He's good humor. I like him.
He's doing those good commercials.
Nice. Yeah.
He's a good guy. Now you follow we got basketball brackets came today.
Yep.
For football games, the college football games for Washington State and Washington, do you go to those and follow them much at all, or?
I've been to maybe 4 or 5.
Okay.
I do follow college football. I grew up in a house that my father still alive. He's going to be 87 this year, and he still follows Notre Dame.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so he's a big Notre Dame fan.
All right.
My
hold
wife
that against him.
Yeah, my wife's from Wyoming, so of course we follow the Wyoming Cowboys.
Yep, they made it in today in the men's bracket.
Well, they've got to do that play-in game.
That play-in game, but they're going. That's gonna be great for recruiting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I don't think UW, University of Washington, or Washington State didn't do anything this year, but
the girls, the Cougars made it for the girls. Washington State made it for the girls.
I saw that, but not for the men.
No, nothing there. I think that's all I got for you, sir.
I got a question.
Yes.
For Killer Hawk. Did you follow XFL with the Seattle Dragons last
I did follow the Dragons a little bit. I bet you got a hat right there, don't you?
Yeah.
There you
I had my
go.
shirt, but I didn't wear it
I
today.
got the Dragons cap. I followed them this last year.
Yeah, I've got one of those upstairs in my hawk room.
Nice.
Yeah, now they got a year off. They'll start again. Now the USFL is coming into play, but Seattle doesn't have a team, so
Right.
we like to follow
Yes.
some of these other leagues around.
Yeah,
You got the
absolutely.
Kraken for hockey. They're doing all right for an
You know-
expansion team.
Kraken?
Yeah, their
Yes.
expansion team. They won last night in a shootout, which was pretty awesome.
Yep. Word is you guys want to get NBA back there again now.
That's what they keep saying.
Are they going to play in the same stadium where the Kraken play, or are they going to build one for
Yeah,
basketball
I
too?
think so, because that stadium has been completely redone. Basically,
Okay.
they yanked everything out but the girders and dug down, and it's a pretty amazing place.
Great. Well, I think we're going to get out of the regular podcast here.
All right.
You're welcome to stick around and breathe better taking the mask off. Great. If you want to keep it on, that's your call.
I'll probably get out of this because I'm hotter than heck in this thing.
I'm sure.
Like I said, so you're welcome to stick around. We
How
appreciate you
hot
being
does it
on.
get during the games? Because you've got that thing on for 3-hour period, I suppose.
Yeah, well, it's an outdoor stadium, which is nice. But, I got one of these Under Armours on, and
Yeah.
so it gets pretty warm.
You're all
Well,
set.
thanks for joining us, Killer
Hey, I
Hawk.
appreciate it, guys, and I really enjoyed
Appreciate you.
having conversation with you.
Awesome.
Yeah. We'll talk to you later. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have
Thank
a good
you.
evening.
Well, ladies and
All right.
gentlemen, that was Killer Hawk here joining us, the Seattle Seahawks super fan. Now, Andy, we've got an episode coming up. We've got sports, we've got NFL, Major League Baseball, NCAA brackets. We've got an album
High
of the
school
week.
stuff.
Sorry, what's that?
High school stuff going on.
We
Hockey.
got the high
finished
school
up.
March Madness going on. And so where do you want to start? We got a lot to cover tonight.
Well, is there a trivia question this week, sir?
Oh, yes. Trivia question. Here's my trivia question.
Yes.
Basketball related, March Madness related.
Okay.
Question is this. The question is for the NCAA basketball, women's and men's,
Yep.
there's 68 teams in the tournament. Following the brackets announcement, they have an NIT tournament, National Invitational Tournament. It's like a second tier of teams that play in also a single elimination tournament.
Okay.
And it's also postseason, but it's not the big elite. But the women's was smaller, got bigger. How many teams? Here's the question: how many teams are in the NIT for the women's this year? How many teams? Like I said, it has grown,
Yeah, it's growing.
and the NCAA is 68 teams for the big tournament. So the NIT, the question is how many teams? It is a new answer this year. So look it up if you need to on the side, listeners out there. Meanwhile, we'll move along with the show, and we'll come back to
Yes.
it.
All right. We'll start here. Hockey wrapped up. First, I just want to say there was a little issues with some of the teams. One of them, New Prague, continued to make a fool of themselves in the crowd on cameras. Other schools kind of made jerks of themselves, but yes, they're high school students. But you know what? When one team's making a fool of yourself, that should be your cue to, hey, let's not. But we did stupid stuff in high school too. You're going to see a lot of people blowing it out of proportion. I think it's blown out of proportion, some of the stuff that was done at the games. One of them, the team playing Minneapolis North. As they're announcing Minneapolis, everybody turned their back on them. Okay, that's something we did in high school back in the day too. That's just what you did. And the one article said, oh, they turned their back on them. Oh, but they're looking at the science of sportsmanship. They're not being good sports. That's just what high school kids do. All right. So
The gimmick.
I thought that was kind of funny. Boys hockey, here we go. Congratulations, Class A champion Hermantown. 3-2 victory over Warroad. And in double overtime, Andover beats Maple Grove 6-5. Andover is your 2A champion.
No, is that their first ever state title in any sport, right?
For Andover?
Yeah.
I don't believe so. I'd have to double check. I thought they got
I
something.
think I read that they're fairly new school. I mean, Maple Grove is
Yeah.
as well,
Yeah.
but I don't think Andover won a state title in anything. And so this really meant a lot to them. They went
Yep.
to 2 overtimes.
2 overtimes.
And
They were just
heck of a
dogged at
game.
the end of it. Yeah.
wow.
Girls basketball, they get the stage next. Here's our brackets. Class A on the left side. Minneota plays number 1 Mountain Iron. Then below them is the 5-4 Hayfield Cass Lake game. Right side, United Christian Academy against Mayor Lutheran, the 2 seed. And below them is Nevis against Hancock High School. So looking like it could be the Mayor Lutheran Mountain Iron game is what we're all picking.
Wow.
2A, Montevideo, or Monty as we like to call it out here, against Providence Academy. And you got 5-4 Rochester Lords against Albany. Right side, Pequot Lakes against Fergus, the number 2 seed. And then Crystal Lake against Minnehaha Academy. Fergus, a 2 seed. That could be a good team to watch. 3A, Becker and Austin. Becker, the 1 seed. Mankato East and Bedille St. Margaret, your 5-4 matchup. Right side of the bracket, Grand Rapids High School against St. Paul Como Park, the 2 seed. Then Detroit Lakes High School against Tino Grace, the 3 seed. Now, a lot of these games you notice too, I'll go back here, they're all at the pavilion on campus. Williams Arena in the pavilion, because 4 brackets, 8 teams, not everything's going to be played at the big stadiums to start with. So these first rounds are kind of spread out. 4A, Lakeville North gets number 1 seed Hopkins. And White Bear Lake and Rosemont in your 5-4 matchup. Right side of the bracket is Roseville against the number 2 seed Shakopee. And number 3, St. Michael Albertville against Centennial.
Now, Andy, were you going to talk about that Shakopee final shot against Eden Prairie?
Oh, man. I read about it.
I didn't see it until I went back and watched it on Twitter, but Eden Prairie was up, clock winding down. The gal didn't make a 3-pointer to win it. She didn't make a half court shot. It was farther than half court, and she drained it for a 3-pointer to win the game as the time expired, and the crowd, fans all rushed the court. Unbelievable footage if you get a chance to see that one.
Just the way the coach drew it up, I guarantee you.
Wow. Unreal.
Boys basketball, they start March 22nd through 26th. A lot of them are in the semifinals for their sections. You can follow that on the state high school page, or midweek we'll have it. If not, obviously next week we'll have all their matchups in there. Big Ten hockey championship game next week, the 19th. Gophers and Michigan, 1 and 2 seeds. That's all planning out as the way God intended. The Mason Cup, which is the CCHA, the Beavers, they're the 3 seed going against number 1 seed Minnesota State Mavericks. So the Beavs upset. Well, see, 3-2 is not really upset, but I'll say it. They upset Michigan Tech. So Beavs are in. They'll play the 19th for the Mason Cup championship. All this leads to the NCAA tournament. Hockey East, March 18th is the semis. UConn and Northeastern, UMass Lowell and Massachusetts with their championship game next Saturday. Or the Saturday after that. Yeah, next Saturday. Go for baseball. Not doing so well this week there. 4-12 on the year. Lost to the Bison on Tuesday. They've been getting swept by Air Force. They did win their game today. I don't have it on the screen here, but they did win today. And they got 3 at Creighton down back in Omaha, Nebraska afterwards. But 5-12 after today's win for the Gophers. Bison baseball. They're there with their win against the Gophers. They got Maine. One game was canceled with weather. I do not have a score for today. They're doing 7-6. Bison are doing okay for baseball. They're all right. We'll see how they hold up for the year. And yes, today, thanks be to God, they officially reported the spring training.
So the lockout's done. They agreed on everything. They came to a conclusion, and we're done with all this nonsense. We're ready to play some ball.
Yes. Speaking of nonsense, Here's some of the nonsense rules they came up with.
Okay.
Some nonsense, some non-nonsense. 12-team expanded postseason, universal DH, 9-inning games in doubleheaders, and no runners on base to start for extra innings.
Okay.
So the bottom two we're going back to pre-COVID stuff. Those two rules were put in because of COVID for makeup games and that. No one liked it, so we're going back to the way God intended. The universal DH, I'm not a DH guy, so that one kind of hurts. I see where they're coming from, though. I just don't like it. They're a 12-team format. Here's a little history on playoffs for that. Playoffs is 12 teams. Pre-1969, the World Series was just the best American League and best National League team. 69 through 93, it was the 4 division winners were in the playoffs. You had an East and a West in the American League, East and West National League. Then in 95, they started doing the wild card. Then in 2012, they added 4 wild card teams. They had 2 before that. So 12-team format for playoffs. This is how it's going to go. The 1 seed is the best overall record. The 2 seed is the second best record among division winners.
Okay.
Those 2 will get a bye into the second round. The 3 seed is the third best division winner. 4 through 6 seeds are the 3 best non-division winning teams. There will be no game 163 if 2 teams tie. They I don't have it listed here what the rules are, but they do have a tiebreaker system.
Okay.
So it'll be 3 against 6, and then 4 against 5 for seedings for the best out of 3. Then they're not going to reseed. Just 1 will play the winner of the 4-5 series, and the second seed will play the winner of the 3-6 series. So that's how that's going to go. 99 percentages are that's going to be working out the best, but you never know. One thing they want to get rid of is the shift. Beginning in 2023, a joint competition committee of 4 active players, 6 members appointed by Major League Baseball, and 1 umpire. They're going to come up with rules on how to get rid of the shift, what they're going to do. If they're going to limit how many times you can do it, if it's going to be banned, you can't do it after certain times. They're going to work on that on a committee.
Okay. So no change this year for that.
Yeah.
They'll table that until next year, huh?
Yeah. Pitch clock, limit the number of defensive shifts, larger bases, and the automatic ball strike count. Larger bases, they go from 15 to 18 square inches. I'm not in favor of that. I see why they're doing it to prevent injury. I get it at first base, but they want to make them larger. They say prevent injury and increase stolen bases. Players were close enough as is, man. Holy cow. But we'll see. Another issue they have right now. Oh, and starting in 2023, each team's going to play everybody at least once. So you'll see every team. The Twins will play the Mets every year. 1 year here, 1 year there.
I didn't know that. That's excellent.
Yep. Major League Baseball Canada. If unvaccinated, you are put on a restricted list. Your service time is not accrued, and you do not get paid because Canada is not letting unvaccinated players in. From what I read today, lots of Yankees and Red Sox players like that, so I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't know if players are going to take it or teams would take advantage of it going, oh, you're unvaccinated. We got that series, the Blue Jays coming up. How's that finger injury her handling? Oh, you need to go to the DL. So you might see some of that, just saying. Mets home opener is the 16th or 15th. April 15th is the Mets home opener. And here's their updated spring training schedule. Just a couple dozen games in there. My opinion, yes, you lost some spring training games. My opinion, you're professional athletes. Not saying you should wake up and start the regular season. You do need some practice games with your teammates in that, but I think this is plenty of practice games for you. There has been trades. That night, trades started dropping. Here's a few. And more have happened since I made my stats here. The Mets do get Chris Bassett from the A's. And that's a very nice starting roster going right now with Chris here. We got Max Scherzer. We got Jake DeGrom. We got other guys are fitting in. We don't know who 4 or 5 are going to be yet. Might be some more pitchers coming in, but right now the Mets are looking at 5 right-handed starting pitchers. I'm against that. You need at least one lefty in there. The Mets also acquired Adovado, a 1-year deal from the Red Sox. Needed some bullpen help. We got it. DeGrom's contract is up this year, and I agree with this. They're going to wait till the season plays out before they start talking about contract. I hate when it's during the season to talk to a guy about contract. If DeGrom starts this year like he did last year if he got hurt, well, he's talking contract. We better pay him buku money. Say he did that this year's on contract and gets hurt, then everybody's all upset.
Mm-hmm.
Season play out and then sign. Wait till after you get your next Cy Young award or something like that, then go from there. So Mets deals. Garv Sauce, as some people call him, is gone. One of the few decent catchers we've had. He's gone. Got a nice shortstop back. I've seen a little bit of his highlights from Texas Air from Isaiah. He's a nice guy. We'll see how that works out.
So he won a Gold Glove a couple of years ago, but it was at third base for the Rangers. Twins got him to be an everyday shortstop because Andrelton Simmons is now gone.
Oops. Yep.
So we've got him. It'll be a nice fit there for that. And Mitch Garver was brought up and was very good all the way through the farm system. But I think they're going to go with Ryan Jeffers going forward. And Ben.
Yeah, I was a Garver guy. I liked him.
Yeah, I like Garver too. And they just, I think, had too much coming up in the farm system for catching. They got Ben Rortved, who's coming up soon. Ryan Jeffers has already basically established himself. So I think Garver became expendable so we can get this shortstop. And who else do we get? A pitcher in this deal?
Yeah, these are the two main guys right here.
Okay. So
And
they're filling some holes. Yep.
We got Sonny Gray from the Reds. I'm very excited about this acquisition for the Twins. I'm a big Sonny Gray guy.
That'll be nice.
This will be a nice pickup for the local squad. Going to talk a little pro wrestling here. Don't usually talk about in this show, but we're going to do it right now. Biggie Langston on Friday night, if you watched it. I don't have a video of it here because it was kind of gross in a way. Broke his neck. So everybody who says it's fake, you watch it. He did not fakely break his neck.
Did you say fakely? He did not
fakely break. Yes, I
got to see this. I did not see this footage, but I will be interested in watching.
He did break his neck. It was a belly to belly outside the ring. He came down square on the top of his dome, and he just laid.
Oh my goodness!
When he left, they cutted him off. He gave the thumbs up. He has gone on Twitter, and he's sitting in the hospital bed. His neck's all bandaged up. He's like, "I'm moving my fingers, guys. I'm okay." He does have some neck damage, broken, some certain vertebrae, depending on As fast as they're getting reports out, they kept changing, but it's considered a broken neck. He's going to be fine. If he'll ever wrestle again, who knows? But so Big E had that go on. His career was kind of shaky this year anyway, and now this just kind of tops it off. You never wish this on anybody in that sport. Some of the things they do and they walk away from, and then this happens, and you just only hope for the best. Also, Scott Hall used to wrestle here in the AWA years ago with Kurt Hennig, Razor Ramon, the bad guy. He had some hip surgery last week, and after surgery suffered 3 heart attacks over the weekend. So he is on life support and not doing real good right now. So for those of you who remember Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, thoughts and prayers to him as well. So 2 wrestling guys, bad health issues right now. They put their bodies through a lot, and they get no thanks from some people. But let's see if they pull through these. And Scott Hall, years ago had substance abuse issues. Went through DDP's class. He got all clean and better. So he got hip surgery because he got all the other chemicals out of his system, if you will. He was healthy after that surgery, or so they thought. Suffered a few heart attacks afterwards. So we'll see how he turns out.
Interesting.
There is the link. You'll see that on our Facebook page. It looks kind of like that for the men's bracket. We did a show for the women's bracket. You go back and watch it on YouTube. But for the men's, we'll have our pick 'em on there. We are not supplying the 25K. That's a separate Yahoo one could do theirs. Look just for us. You'll get your name mentioned on the show.
Bragging rights.
Bragging rights. concerts, I got one concert or a few concerts and one album coming up here. Korn coming up March 26th at Center a la Target. And also Slipknot coming up, Target Center, April 9th. Just go to targetcenter.com under concerts or events to get ticket information. Bon Jovi is going to be at the X, April 3. And April 9th, Kid Rock with Grand Funk Railroad. That should be a good concert. Now that we're maskless, he's still coming to the concert. One new album I want to mention. First Bite is out from The Big Deal. Kind of a local band. I've followed them on the Facebook. Pretty good. Worth a listen. You check them out on Facebook. First Bite's album by The Big Deal. If that's your thing for music, like we kind of cover here, you'll enjoy it. Something a little different, still rock and roll, but not incredibly over the top, but still good music. That's what I got. Medina still has their concerts. Check out medinaentertainmentcenter.com for their stuff. Your local bars, support your local bands. As we always say, we always have a good time there. How about yourself?
All right, so we got about 7 minutes left here. We're on the countdown. We had 3 guests on today, so they throw us a limit. But I picked a short album review today, so I'll get to that next. But the trivia question is, how many teams are in the NIT for the women's this year?
I'm going to say 32.
How many do you think? They were 16, and they went to 32 over the last few years. And how many teams are in there this year?
So they went for I'm going to say 48.
No, it's higher.
Wow.
They went to a full 64-team tournament this year.
Oh.
And so they're just like the others. And so the question is, here's the question, and I'll make it quick. The NCAA has 68 teams. The women's NIT has 64.
It's 132 teams.
There's 132 teams in there now. For those following, women's college D1 basketball, there's only 356 teams in the nation. So really, 132 teams make it. Basically, your top 37% in the nation.
I was say roughly a third of the teams make it, yeah.
Yeah, 37% of the teams in D1 make a postseason tournament. So you got to have the really poor teams don't make it, of course, and your 500 teams, less than 500 don't. But the rest, there's a lot of teams playing postseason basketball in the nation.
Yep. You talk about the big tournaments. I'll make this quick. Like for the men, we had 9 teams from the Big Ten make the main tournament. We probably won't have many make the NIT if it's this type of ratio,
Yeah.
So
There'll probably be a couple for the NIT and the men's for the Big Ten. Not down at the Gophers, I'm assuming, but it'll be interesting.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of other teams.
The album of the week is a Foo Fighters album, and I've done a few Foo Fighters. I was a big fan back in the day. Still am to somewhat now, but they gotten more into little politics. But I'm covering an EP called Saint Cecilia for today's show. Saint Cecilia. It's an EP by American rock band Foo Fighters, released as a free digital download in November 2015. Originally intended as a sign of gratitude to the group's fans, the EP was also dedicated to the victims of the terrorist attacks in Paris that happened just shortly before that. And so they were on their way, finishing up their tour for, what album was it now? Sonic Highways, I think. And then they wrapped up and did this. They just released 5 songs. Here's the songs. Saint Cecilia. Saint Cecilia is the patron saint of music. And November 22nd is her respective feast day. So it's basically a musical saint. And they recorded this at the Hotel Saint Cecilia in Austin, Texas. There's an actual hotel you can stay there called Saint Cecilia for music. They recorded these 5 songs. Song 1, Saint Cecilia, that was released. Song 2 is Sean. That's kind of a punk feel to it. Song 3 is Save Your Breath, also punk. Song 4 is Iron Rooster, a very good song. Song 5 is The Never Ending Sigh. So this is some good stuff here. And what it's really is, it's simple, back to basics rock and roll. You can get a free download of this. They released it for free, and Very good stuff. It's an 18-minute album was really all it is. It's Dave Grohl on guitar, Chris Shiflett, Pat Smear on guitars, Dave Grohl on vocals, sorry, Nate Mendel on bass, Taylor Hawkins on the drums, and Rami Jaffe on keyboards. So that's the album of the week, 18 minutes long. It's rock, recorded in Austin, Texas, at the actual location. It's a small boutique hotel called St. Cecilia, and they dedicated this to the victims of the Paris shootings that took place. And they were done. They finished with their Sonic Highways tour that year, and they were busy writing songs here in the back of the tour bus, and they got together and whipped this out here in a matter of like 13 or 14 days. I like it. I got it listening today. You know, when this was released, the number one group for top 20 songs of all time, the Foo Fighters are tied for second with 29 top 20 songs of all time.
Oh, wow.
And that's only behind U2. But for the top 10 songs of all time, singles reaching the top 10, Foo Fighters are tied for first with Godsmack for the most top 10 songs.
Oh, wow.
With 22 top 10 songs of singles alone. I didn't know Godsmack was up there. I don't know if Foo Fighters had that many. They've been around. They've
done their thing, yes.
That's all I've got for the albums. Now, in sports, just to summarize, we got the final 2 weeks of March Madness for state sports, right? Final 2 weeks. Girls basketball, next week is boys basketball, then it's done. College, we got hockey, men's and women's.
Yep.
We've got the men's and women's basketball that's just starting up this week, which is a 3-week tournament, essentially.
Right.
You know, we got baseball and everything else going on, but the winter tournaments, these next, 3 weeks are going to be packed with your midweek shows, my midweek shows, and the weekly shows. There's gonna be a lot of March Madness going on here. It's gonna be fun.
Got a lot
Love this
to talk
time of
about.
year. Love it.
All right. Thank you to Dan, the Killer Hawk, for being on today.
Thanks, Killer Hawk.
Thanks
We
to that
We
information.
gotta have him on again. And you know what we could do, Andy? I'd like to try to get some other guests on the program that are the super fans for their respective NFL teams, NHL teams.
Yeah, we'll work with him and the anti-bullying stuff. We'll get that information up on our social media for them, and hopefully we get more of those guys on and talk about it. It's kind of interesting to hear their stories.
Yeah, I like it. That's pretty fun. I liked his autographed jersey of Marshawn Lynch
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
That will be fun.
Marshawn
That's
is
all I've got
impressive.
for this week. We'll see you next week, everyone.
See ya.
See ya.